good friends, the Roos, have come, and we are giving them the first shot at coming one-on-one to chat with Grandpa. So we are going to invite everybody to take the opportunity to do that. As you know, we just kind of close. When you see it's open, you just come and talk to them.
The story I want to share is before we came on this trip, I told some of my coworkers that I'm going to see my wife's grandfather who turned 100 years old. And they were amazed by it. We were telling them the whole neighborhood, showing out how he walks and all these things. And they asked, like, that's really amazing. And I shared the YouTube channel of Les High and his short little stories that he has. And then the next day in our morning meeting, the inspirational thought, the inspirational movie was this 1 minute and 30-second video on Les talking about leadership. And so it's really neat to just see that it's spreading out. I mean, it's amazing. You have lived an amazing life. You're touching people that you probably will never see, never know, and you'll continue to touch them forever. And that's really cool. So, happy birthday.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
You too. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Coast Guard. We're so glad to have our Coast Guard friends here from 65, the class of 65, sharing in this special moment.
And I'll take that moment. I'm Dale J. Phillips, a member of the class of 1965 at the Coast Guard Academy. And I have my classmate, Dick Rue, here with me. And you could say, well, we're non-family. But I don't think that's true. Because our first year there, we needed a class advisor. And somebody recommended that we select Captain High, at the time, Lieutenant Commander High on the staff. So the best class advisor we ever had was that person who recommended you, Les.
Thank you.
The joke is he's the second best.
Okay.
To give you an idea of what he thinks about our class, at 50 years after graduation, a committee was formed to prepare a book in which all classmates could put 2 pages of what they did from graduation in 1965 until 50 years later. I was on that committee, and I knew Microsoft Publisher, so I ended up putting the book together as everybody submitted photographs and letters and pictures and whatever they wanted on their 2 pages. Les High was reserved, and he had 4 pages because he needed it. As the book was being published, put together, I was talking to Les about this booklet, describing what was on the cover, what was on the back, the inside of the back cover, all the features of the book. And I said, Les, even on the spine here, we've got it, Coast Guard Academy, Golden Journeys. It's right here, so you can see it whenever it's on the bookshelf. So Les turned to me and he said, Dale, this book isn't going to be on the bookshelf. It's going to be right here next to it. That's what he thinks of us. And we think of the same thing for you too.
Thank you very much, Dale. It's wonderful. Thank you very much.
I'm Barry Webster. I'm married to Emily Bostwick, so the others. So I work for the VA, and Les has been my favorite secret shopper for years. He lets me know about all the things that we're doing well, and then he very patiently tells me some of the things we can improve, of course. And I don't know all the 65ers, but I feel like I do, because your book, their book, is part of my curriculum every year for all of my trainees. And so I have trained 8 people to be business managers at medical centers all over the country. And part of our reading curriculum is your book. So there's been directors and all kinds of future leaders, as you probably intended, that are learning lessons from each of you. And of course, I've had the opportunity of learning the most from Les directly. So I appreciate all of you, and happy birthday, sir.
Thank you, Barry. That's wonderful. Come on, John. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I think the book you're referring to is The Gift of Leadership, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Yes, and that actually has been used by many of us. I used it in trainings. Melissa's waving her head that yes, she has used it in trainings. So I think the other day I said you had had influence on hundreds, Dad, and then maybe thousands in my note to you. I think it is very definitely thousands that your life has impacted
Thank you,
by
sweetie.
so many things. And more comments, folks? Anyone?
Hi, I'm Lindsay Shea. I'm married to Ken, the Navy guy, which is Mary and Jeff's son. And I love Grandpa High very much. And I have a Carol story, which I know are welcome. So I figured, I was a little nervous, but I thought, I like it, I'll come tell. When I first met Grandpa, I came with Ken, my husband, we were dating at the time. And he had told me so much about Grandma and Grandpa High. And I didn't know when I went to visit them that Grandma High at the time had Alzheimer's. When we sat down with him, he told me all about the 65ers. He showed me a book. And he went to go prepare some food, and Ken went to help him. And I thought, okay, this is my chance to talk to Grandma. So they had that cool painting above their fireplace, and I knew they had a son that was an artist, Greg, and I said, did your son paint that? And she looked at it and she said, I think so. And I said, yeah, I heard you have a son that's an artist. And she said, yeah, I think that's right. And then their book was on the table and their picture was on the back. And so I showed it to her and I said, is this you? And she said, I think that is me. And I started to catch on that maybe, her memory wasn't always all there for her, and she was just a little confused, very sweet to me. And Grandpa High came back in, and he had made us some corn casserole, which he had learned from Carol, and he had them in what he told me were Carol bites, because this cube of the casserole was the perfect portion for her, he had learned. And he told me about how he made them, he keeps them in the freezer, and then he microwaves them, and it's so convenient. And he was he took so much pride in how he took care of her and made her the things that she loves, that it was so clear that she had made for him for so long. And Grandma, we were talking more, and Grandma looked down at her feet, and she was kind of shaking her feet. Just a little bit. And Grandpa picked up on that really quick, and he went over, and he just stopped his conversation with us, and he kneeled on the ground in front of her, which was not easy for him. And he said, Carol, honey, do you want your shoes on? And she said, I think so. He knew just from the way she was kind of looking at her feet. He picked up on that. And so he starts putting her shoes on, and he's just explaining to her, these are your new shoes. You might not recognize these. We just got them for you. They're so nice. He's talking to her about what color they are. And he's putting on her shoes so gently. And he was so caring to her and really speaking to her in exactly the way that she needed. You could tell. And it was very clear that she was just the most special person in the room and to him and in his life. And the way, watching him care for her like that, having just sort of put together what her struggles were, was so special. And I loved the way that he spoke to her and the time that he took with her, and how most of our conversation really revolved in some way around Carol. And that's the same to this day. Grandpa is always telling me about Carol and pictures of her and what she's saying to him and how she's still with him on her walks. And I feel very lucky to be married to someone who came from Grandpa High and who was able to witness the love and care that he shows for his wife.
I'll just sit on my chair and talk to you. That's a good idea. Okay? You don't mind?
Not at all.
I'm going to eat in front of you.
For a long time, but you're a good guy.
You think I'm a good guy, huh?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sweetie. Well, you got a lot of people cheering for me.
Incredible.
I was telling Rich the story about how he used to send a note every Christmas on the Christmas card, and we weren't good at it. We didn't send Christmas cards. So one year, the line.
Well, I
You and Carol and then
I have a wonderful.
Hi. And I'm more privileged to have known her too.
There's white cake and chocolate cake.
Chocolate.
All right. I'm not the expert, but you know what? And you want ice cream?